alpha tribes, or they should be at least doing this, move their material so quickly on official servers. Now, granted, we're not going to be on an official server, but the principle is still absolutely 100% the same since they opened up server transfers. Since server transfers exist, I can definitely show you something very, very cool about how they basically move material around the map and basically render this guy almost obsolete. So, alright, we have got some material here. We actually got a lot. Now, the reason why I got so much is due to the fact of the map we are on. We are on a 4 times server, and that means all the resource collection is up, and that's why we're getting so much out of so little. Not 100% my choice. I really would rather have it back down to where it was, but the population here is happy with it 4 times, so I'm sucking it up and I'm dealing with it. So, right now you can see a beam in the distance, or you could, now it just disappeared. We're going to fly over there, actually. And this is not my forge, this is actually somebody else's. Now, we're not going to use the forge, though, and you can see right next to it, it's a tech transmitter. Now, you already might be thinking, well, I don't have tech, I'm a noob, and I haven't even gotten that far. Why are you showing me this? Well, it's the same principle. You can actually use drops just the same, although I am not seeing any in the current vicinity. You could go to that red one, or in some cases, some of these drops form on the side of cliffs. The volcano used to always get good drops, but basically you're just looking for a drop nearby your location. I'm going to set the ink down, just so I'm not carrying it around and hauling it around. I'm going to go find a drop real quick, actually. Alright guys, we are back, and I found another drop. It's pretty far away, and I think there are piranha in the water, because that's a raptor sitting there. But you can see right here, we're at a drop, and hopefully you never have to go this far through this much trouble to reach one of these to do this. Hopefully it's on the mountain with you that you're working on. I had one that I was going to stop by, but there was too many Argents, and it was about to go away. It was yellow ring drop, so I couldn't miss it, so that's why we didn't use that one. But you can see we can access the inventory here. We're going to ignore all this. We don't want to pull any of this stuff out. For your first inclination is to access it and pull the stuff. Do not do that in this case. What you're going to go ahead and do is go to Arc Transmitter. Now, or Arc Data, I'm sorry. It used to be Arc Data. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this item right here, and you're going to drag it into the area. Now what you will find is everything I'm about to put in here is going to remain in here. And I think Viking hairstyle, I'm going to keep that because I'm going to use that. But we're going to throw all this in there. I don't want that, so I'm just going to get rid of it. And I'm going to get rid of this. So we've thrown all this in here, okay? And that's the basic principle. Now, if you wanted to, you can take this stuff and get rid of it or whatever you want to do. You don't need it. Where's your stuff? Well, it's up in the Arc Data. It's in the cloud of the game. So that much is for sure. We've got our stuff stored away. Now, we are going to actually go ahead and go back, and we're going to use the transmitter. And we're going to upload a large quantity of metal. Now, when I do this, you're going to find something really cool. And what it'll be is basically all the metal that I put in this thing will also be with all the other stuff I just put in. The chitin and everything else that I stuck into the transmitter will all be in one big pile inside that thing. So basically what's going to happen, just in a rough statement, is we'll be able to access that material anywhere provided we have a drop or a beacon, or I say a beacon, a transmitter. Either one of those will allow us to access it and pull the material from it. So you might already see where this is going. You're limited to 50 slots of resources. And rather than loading it on your slow quetzal, you can fly over there, especially if you already have your Ankh in that area. You can fly over there in a fast pterodon or something like that. Walk around, collect the material, hit the drop, and drop your resources off. That's the plan, at least. You put the resources in there, and then you can even upload your own armor and stuff, whatever, all the equipment, you can leave it in the cloud. And then if you had a bed in there, you could fast travel back across the map, which is another option. You could fast travel back across the map and back to your base and unload it all with safety if you had a transmitter. You might have to go to a nearby drop, or you can even use a nearby obelisk if you live near an obelisk, which is a good reason to live by one. But if you just hit a drop up, you can go pick it up there. So you can keep your quetzal much closer to your house, loaded up on weight, versus a million miles away. So, if you look in the art data, look what's there. All the stuff on the drop. Now, transferring from map to map, there's a cooldown. I believe at least there's a cooldown, although we did not have that problem with the transfer from Ragnarok back to the island. So, in this particular case, we're not dealing with a cooldown, and here it is. All my material is sitting right here waiting for me. I have uploaded this material, and even if there is a cooldown, you can upload a wave of material and hide it, and then just pull it when needed. There's a lot of benefits to using the ARC transmitter for storage, for moving material. There's just a lot you can do with it. You not only can you upload dinos and pull dinos out. I mean, you could upload your dino in one spot and then pull it out on the cliffside. You can move dinos across the map by using drops, which I had never even thought of until just now. Set up a bed nearby one of these where a drop normally spawns, where maybe you're planning an attack, and then transmit a bunch of your dinos from your base. Maybe you got a drop nearby your base. Maybe there's a drop that's in your base. Maybe, just maybe, your base has a transmitter. Maybe you're one of those guys. And just haven't realized the potential that this does. It gives you the ability to wage war by moving land mounts across the map. Now, what we can do here is we just load it right up into the ARC data. And one thing I definitely want to point out is watch what happens when I click one at a time to put it in there. Notice how none of this stacks. You are limited to 50 slots. So one thing you can do is make sure you pull out anything you don't need to put in there that's light maybe, and keep it on you. But all the other stuff that has a heavy weight like metal, for example, throw it in the thing. You could, if you had a forge, upload it first, smelt it first, but then upload it. But that's really pushing it. That might be a little more time consuming than time saving. Walking back and forth is definitely not something we're wanting to do, but we're walking back and forth in this case, carrying the material, because just the way I dropped the yank this round. Last time I dropped the yank on that side and was able to get over here, it was really easy, but it's just, oh, you can see, yeah, I could see myself messing up here. So we're going to upload all this, and you just want to be careful not to upload an odd amount. If you do, make sure you pull it out. And the reason for that is so you can get some nice even stacks, and you don't have a bunch of small stacks that are blocking up your transmitter. You'll probably clear the whole mountain to get the resources to do something like that. Me, because of the map area we're in, and I am definitely going to do the other method. Because of the map with the 4x collection, we really pick up a lot of metal. Alright guys, we have returned home. I am completely light on material right now. Nothing on me except what my personal inventory was carrying. You can see the quetzal still carrying nothing, and the yank is floating like always because art is broken. So, we are back at home, and thankfully here we have a transmitter. We don't have to worry about getting a drop or anything like that. But maybe that's something you might want to pay attention to when you build. Ark a long time ago obsoleted the ability to, like, if you built in an area where a drop was, the drop would not spawn. You could block it with foundations. Well, eventually they came to the point where they got rid of that. As long as there was a foundation, well, I mean, as long as there was a structure, it would still spawn right next to it now. So theoretically, let's pretend we are at a drop. So we're at a drop, and oh look, here's our drop, right? Versus somewhere else. You might have to go maybe outside your base, maybe it's just outside your wall, maybe it's actually inside your base, maybe it drops right in the center of your base. You never know. I've seen a lot of stuff, so it could easily be any of those. But, alright, Shockwave, just calm down. So, we're at our drop, and this is what I transmitted the other day, actually. This was all moved yesterday, but you can see, actually I pulled it out of the transmitter today is what happened. But you can see there's stuff sitting right here inside the transmitter. The same material that I had before. You can even see the imperfect stack of 121 that I had thrown in there earlier, and I completely forgot to make sure that I had perfect stacks. Now you can see every other stack was perfect anyway, but it just so happened that was an imperfect stack that just moved. But, point is, so all this material is actually in here, ready to go. I can offload it at this point and carry it into the base. Now, one thing I definitely want to point out is as long as you are you, or as long as you are standing here, you can load yourself down with as much weight as you want, which means you can empty the transmitter. So here it is. We are emptying the transmitter out, and look, I am just overloading myself with weight. I'd never, even if I tried to transfer all this to my inventory, it wouldn't let me. It would stop me. But I can have it all right now. I have how much weight? I have 3,500 pounds on me. Now, obviously, no one could be able to pick me up with this. But if I had a quetzal or something right here, I could just throw it on there, or something. Maybe have a bear at home and load it up on weight, because a good weight bearer is a very good transport, at least internally, to move your material. If you have a transmitter, you might probably have this inside right next to your fabricator, just so you can move that material over and quickly shift it into bullets or whatever you're trying to turn it into. But you could just technically load up on all your stuff and then turn to your animal and unload it. Now, if you're doing this from a drop, you won't really be able to put anything back in, so this is not something you want to do in a drop. But if you have a transmitter, it's a little more okay, because you can completely unload and then throw back what you don't want to pull out. Now, if you are using a drop, for example, and let's say you had to go outside your base, well, make sure you grab a good weight bearer, maybe a Bronto or something like that, and load it onto the Bronto as much as you can. Make sure you don't pull out more than what you actually can hold. Otherwise, you're going to have a bit of an issue with that. And then just walk it back to the base if you're just outside the wall or something like that, or your drop is reasonably close. This is how most alpha tribes should be if they're not moving their metal. And if they're not doing this, this is something you should do to take advantage at the time. It'll save you a lot of time about flying back and forth with loads of metal when you can just upload it. And this is something you can do on official servers. You couldn't do this back in the day, but now when Quetzal still could have movement buffs, and before the cross arc transfers came online. But ever since they came up with the cross arc transfers, you can now do this. Now, your items shouldn't have a cooldown time, but even if they did have a cooldown time, let's say you're not too rushed to get that material, right? Maybe you just wanted to go out for a mining run. It doesn't matter if the walls come up now or later, you're still going to have a wood wall portion. You can leave, like, let's say you still got a panel that's made of wood right here. Well, your base is technically not secure, because your base is only as strong as your weakest structure, which I can speak from experience, as we had a metal ceiling, but a nice couple pieces were not metalled, and we got broken into through the wood structures that we had, and I got all my stuff stolen. So when you do that, you want to flash it up anyway. So maybe you need to just set it off to the side and maybe move on to the next mountain or whatever it is you're doing. But you can transmit that stuff that way. And if you don't want to carry your Ankleo, you can upload the Ankleo. And then if you can find a transmitter that's unlocked, or if you can find a drop that's nearby, you can just go ahead and pull that material, or you can pull the dino out and then carry it from there versus across the map, because carrying stuff does, I believe, drain more stamina. So these are just options for you. This should help you move that material much, much faster and make it to where you can gather immense amounts of material very quickly, and maybe surprise that alpha tribe with a little more oomph if they come to raid you. So that's going to be it, though. You guys take care, and I'll catch you next time.